the housing market around New York City is booming. It is on fire. This is out of Wall Street Journal, so we shifted away from it.
What's super interesting, though, is maybe we should look at other articles. Like, is the same thing happening around LA? Is the same thing happening around Chicago?
Oh, it's funny that you say that, Nicole, because I do have another article up.
I love it.
And that
Look
is
at you.
from Bloomberg. Wealthy havens lure
Mad rush. See, I like that headline better.
home buyers, in mad rush from San Francisco. So they're talking about like all the way up to wine country. People are fleeing San Francisco and buying north of the city because that was one of the heaviest restricted areas in the country. They locked down first.
Yep.
And so people...
And now they're having their second outbreak too. So as is Florida. Well, I wouldn't say second
Florida's
outbreak,
not.
but...
I'm disputing that.
The numbers have... Okay. I'm not even getting involved in it.
Fuzzy numbers down there. All right. Anyways, let's talk about what we're experiencing here because we are we're 2 hours outside of New York City. Okay. So we're not in traditional suburbs for people that commute.
Okay, but go easy though. We personally are, yes, but Connecticut obviously is a border. So,
but I'm just talking about our market of New Haven County, Middlesex, and New London here in Connecticut. We've always seen people from New York buy second homes. And
it's funny you say that though, because again, I feel like,
truth.
Well, but it is still funny because I feel like for so long, so many sellers were like, a New York buyer is going to buy this house, and I've never really had that New York buyer until now.
That's exactly my point. I talked about this on the radio over the weekend. Every seller I've ever sat with over the price point of $1 million has always said to me, Byron, it's going to be easy for you to sell my house. Yeah. You'll be able to sell this to any New Yorker.
Market it in New York. Market it in the Wall Street Journal. Put it on. Come
Nicole,
on.
get it in New York.
Yeah, come on. Do the banner. You're gonna have a New York buyer, and we've never seen that New York. I have never had a New York buyer buy any of those homes.
It does happen.
Oh, of
a lot
course,
of times second homes, but. Right now, as we sit here in 2020, in June of 2020, sellers, if you're local, and this is what I said on the radio, it is your golden opportunity to cash in on that statement, sell it to a New Yorker.
Yes.
And that's what they're experiencing all up and down the Connecticut shoreline. We're experiencing it. I know Ryan from our team, he said over the last couple of weeks, 75% of his Zillow leads are New Yorkers. You're working personally with 4 New York buyers right now, I think you said. Is that number accurate?
Yep.
There was who's this person in this Wall Street Journal? Catskill Farms Incorporated, home builder in Wurtsboro, New York. He sold 6 yet-to-be-built homes in the past 8 weeks. And the owner, Chuck, said his company usually sells 16 to 18 homes a year. They sold 6 of them just in the past week. He's getting 30 inquiries a week, up more from usually 6 a week. And these are to-be-built homes, so people aren't even saying, I need a home right now. I just need a home outside of New York City.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think too, I feel like there's lots of stories that are happening in lots of different scenarios. Yeah. Some are looking for a second home because they now want grass, right? I mean, that's really sort of the true second home. Some of the buyers though were looking to rent or buy for the second home, but now the longer that this is being dragged out, they're now actually thinking that they're just going to relocate completely out of the city. So again, I think the story will continue to unfold depending on how long this all lasts. Now, especially people can work from home and not have to go into the city. Then you can really sort of pick where you want to live as long as you're, train ride away, or maybe you just like hop on a plane there for a day, Things
in the average price points in our towns are flying off the shelves. Multiple offers. It's crazy.
Right.
Haven't experienced
Well, money is so cheap right now though too. Yeah. So I have to say that a lot of multiple offers that I'm seeing aren't necessarily even those New York buyers. There are those buyers that
are going to buy anyways.
That are local,
but
that
you
are now
have
getting
multiple
money. It's so cheap.
But you have multiple offers and you have more buyers than I've seen in a long time in a spring market. And I do think that is in part to this emergence of New Yorkers getting out of New York. But this article talks about like the radius, not just Connecticut, right? It's Jersey.
Yeah, they're talking about New York.
It's upstate.
Yeah.
Now, Zillow, though, disagrees with us. They say patterns haven't changed much. Nationwide, about 64% of home shoppers looked for suburban homes in April. That's compared with 66% in April 2019. So it's actually down. And I don't know what they're considering suburbs. We're 2 hours out. They're probably not considering us the suburbs. Usually it's an hour. And I think in this article it does say an hour within is the suburbs. We'd be more of a second home market. For shoppers based in New York metro area, those looking to move to a different metro area grew to 40% from about 35% last year. So not a huge jump.
I think what we need to take.
Whoa. Yep. Mm-hmm. There you go. That happened to me on the radio too this week.
I think what we needed to remember though too is, if you're talking about a New York suburb, I mean, you weren't even really able to transact in April very much either. So I think now that New York has sort of opened up and now, real estate is a little bit more essential, it'll be really interesting to see maybe what Zillow sees, come, looking at May and June.
That's a great point, because if they want to sell their New York City apartment, they haven't really been able to do that until now. They're starting to get to a place where they can actually get buyers into their apartment to buy it.
Right.
And if they're not in a position, some of these New Yorkers right now are just buying $400,000 or $500,000 homes in Connecticut because it's cheap and they have the means to do it. Not every New Yorker has those types of means.
Yes.
What I will say, and I shared this on the radio locally, and I'd love to talk to some people from Fairfield County, Greenwich, or Jersey, certainly upstate New York. We're seeing the average price points explode. Over $1 million, our luxury price point here in Connecticut is down. Okay, so New Yorkers, you always hear New Yorkers, tons of money coming out here, right? They're not coming out here and buying the expensive stuff. They're buying, oh my gosh, I can get 2 acres for $450,000.
And look at my taxes. They're so low. Yeah. A lot of their decisions, in all honesty, are based on taxes. I feel like I've had more mill rate conversations in the last 3 weeks than I have ever had in the last 10 years.
So that's what's happening. When we first talked about this on The Real Word, we were talking about people fleeing, just trying to get out because of the health crisis. They were looking for rents. How many times people ask you for a rent, and they're realizing that rental market,
how many renters do you work with,
especially in the
Byron?
Summer? I don't work with rental buyers.
Viewers?
Whatever they are. I don't work with rentals. No, sorry. But not to sound, it sounded totally douchey
that's
there.
That's why I had to bust your balls on it, because you always sound douchey.
I know, I sounded very douchey. It's just a decision I've made to keep with fair housing practices. Okay. Anyways, they're noticing that the rental market's not there, right? So they're just buying stuff. To your point, we'll see how this plays out.
If they do rent, you're talking about sometimes $20,000, $30,000 a month, where jeepers, like, it makes so much more sense for me to put that money into that home. And then they could actually then charge another New Yorker $20,000 to $30,000 to rent their house.
That's right.
Yeah.